Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning is on higher education. On average, families spent over $24,000 for college in the 2014-2015 academic year, according to the annual How America Pays for College report from Sallie Mae. That's a 16% increase from the previous year. Students in college and those planning to attend college in the near future face a growing price tag for education. The nation's student loan debt is more than $1 trillion, and financial experts say that's altering the economy. My first guests represent an organization that's mission is to create a belief that college is an option for everyone. Milton Cockroft is the executive director of Pathways Milwaukee, and Kelly Ramirez is the director at Pathways Milwaukee. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you both for being here. And Pathways Milwaukee has been around for about 8 years. So if you would tell us more about what it is you do.
Yeah, it's a program that's literally designed to target low-income, first-generation students to help them be more college and career ready. And we do that focusing on academic, social, spiritual, and making sure they have the financial resources to go on to a post-high school education.
Absolutely, and because just like I stated, the price tag of college can really be a deterrent, and I was reading some reports and it could sometimes equal the cost of 4 brand new cars for families. And that is a scary thought, right?
It is scary.
So I love the idea that you help point out the resources that are out there and available to young people for them to take advantage of college. And your program is actually broke down into 4 components. So let's talk about that and how you involve the students on different levels.
Well, we have our pre-college component, which is basically our 6th through 12th grade. That's, again, where we focus on the academic, social, spiritual, and financial resources. And we have FaceTime with them in several ways. We have an after-school program, Saturday program, summer academy, and then we do some leadership and character building things with them. And Kelly can tell you more about the day-to-day operations. But then we have our college component, which is fairly new with us because we have our first 2 cohorts that have graduated from high school and gone on to college. So that's really exciting for us. And with them, it's really about supporting them there and making sure that we stay in touch with them and encourage them and trying to help them with the resources that they need at whatever college campus they're on. And then we have our parent component, really designed to navigate them through the process of preparing their students on this journey to go into higher education. And we have what we call our Pathways Prospects. That's really going to be our kindergarten through 5th grade component. And we haven't actually launched that one now, but that's coming down in the future.
Okay, definitely good stuff there. And Kelly, he was saying that you can better explain the day-to-day operations of Pathways Milwaukee. So tell us, what do the kids do when they get involved with this particular program?
Well, absolutely. So on Saturdays, once a month, our students come to the campus of Wisconsin Lutheran College to have workshops where we focus on honing those life skills and those social skills. We work with a number of partner organizations throughout Milwaukee to deliver those services and those workshops to the students. Our students come for after-school programming as well, and so they're there once a week after school getting STEM support, so that's science, technology, engineering, and math classes, literacy classes, a study hall, and that's all provided with support from college students who are both instructors and volunteers working with us. And then we have a summer academy that's 3 weeks every summer in July, and that's held on a local college campus for our 6th grade through 11th grade students. So they are there getting that academic experience, avoiding the summer slide, what they call that learning melt, and just having a chance to interact with college professors and have classes that challenge them.
Yeah, and so I think that when you look at exposing young people to college and college curriculum and all these things at an early age, when they finally get there, it's almost like a breeze for them because they've already been focused. So talk about why it's so important. You had said, Milton, that your Pathway Prospects will involve kindergartners through 5th graders. Why is it so important, in your opinion, to expose kids to the concept of college at that young of an age?
I think once you expose them to that and the importance of college and what it takes to get there, then they understand why teachers and parents put on them the importance of doing well in school.
Yeah.
You talked about the growing cost of college. They don't understand that their academics and their ACT scores all can reduce that. So if you catch them early enough before, you know, they have the chance to get into those bad habits, it really benefits them in the long run.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I think the most important thing is your component for parents, because you specifically mentioned this is for first generation low income students. So one, when you say low income, you know that the parents are probably more focused on trying to pay the bills and keep their day-to-day lives going, and college seems just like a whole nother burden. So in first generation students usually don't have that person they can turn around to and say, okay, well, what did you do when you enrolled, or when you applied, or can you help me with this essay, whatever the case may be. In some instances that is the scenario. So with parents, you're ready to kind of put them on the same path as the student to say, this is what you need to know, and here's what we're going to do to get you there.
You just talked about our whole parent this morning. What do you want to say? Kelly,
you're right, though, because our parents are busy working, they're busy raising children and taking care of their families, so they don't have time to think about the extras. So our goal through the parent piece is to bring those resources to them, take the question out of the process of preparing their child for not just high school, but college and then career. So really focusing in that middle school, those middle school years, helping our parents parent teenagers, because that's not always an easy task, and then helping them think about gearing up for high school. And then when they're in high school, we're bringing in those pieces of ACT prep, helping them understand the importance of their child taking the ACT and preparing well for it, the college enrollment process, scholarships, FAFSA, all of those pieces that you need to know about in order for your child to be able to successfully enroll.
It's a lot. And then you do have parents who did go to college, and look how much has changed. Just even from when I went to school, I was in the library with books this thick looking up scholarships, and you know, and then there was no internet. You know, things have changed significantly. So even for parents that did go to college, things are a lot different than they were back then.
Yes, absolutely.
So the one thing I think is important to point out is that your program is absolutely free of charge for all of the students who are accepted into Pathways to College. So I know there are some parents who are watching as we speak saying, okay, how do I get my kid involved? So help us out there.
Well, if you go back to when we started off with 9 partner schools and 44 students. Now we have 20 partner schools and about 353 students, 6th through sophomores in college. So our student base comes from our partner schools.
Okay.
So you have to be at one of those partner schools initially to be involved in the program. What happens after that, you know, you still get to remain in the program.
Okay, and what I'm interested in is the name change, because many people will recognize the organization as Pathways to College, and now it's Pathways Milwaukee. And explain how that all came about.
Well, the reason for the name change is because there was another Pathways to College in the New Jersey area.
Okay.
And they were beginning to do some campaigning and marketing, and they came across our name. So it required us to go through a name change. We came up with Pathways Milwaukee because over the last 6 years, and I think we were going into our 7th then, we looked and said, we do so much more than prepare students just for college. So we tried to come up with something that would allow us to capture that. So when they go now to our website or any of our literature, everything will be related, pathways this, pathways that. So because of all the things, you know, Kelly just mentioned, we're more than just preparing them for college. It's college and career readiness.
Okay, so people just need to keep that in mind. It's Pathways Milwaukee. And as you had stated, Kelly, you guys are affiliated with Wisconsin Lutheran College, which is a 4-year liberal arts college located right here in Milwaukee. And do the kids have access to the college facilities, and do they have an opportunity to hang out on campus? How does that work?
Absolutely. We utilize a lot. As I mentioned earlier, the students on campus are incredible. They have service-oriented hearts, and so they're happy to get involved with an organization that they see making positive change in the community. We work with college professors during our summer academy so that they're teaching those classes and removing that stereotype of what a college professor looks like for our students. And then also just on campus, our students are there a lot of times after school or on Saturdays doing study time and utilizing the library, utilizing the resources there. Our offices, of course, are there, so you'll find high school students hanging out there quite frequently, and it's great for them to have that interaction with college students, college staff members, college professors, and really it takes that fear out of a college campus.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things people say you have to graduate from high school and go to college, and you're like, okay, so there's a lot of expectations that come along with it, but one thing about it, that sticker price is something that we talked about. So not only do you have tuition, you've also got room and board, you've got meals, and transportation, personal costs, fees, books.
Right.
I know, it just gave me a headache thinking about it. So you have to find ways to really put parents at ease, because kids will sometimes say, as long as you tell me, hey, the money's there, they'll take out a loan, whatever it is they need to do in order to make it happen. But for parents, there's a little more thought behind it, because they know what it means to take out a loan and have interest charged and all those things. So what is it that you do or tell the parents to kind of drive home the message that this is an option that their child can definitely have?
Well, I think it's important. I mean, we start with our parents. When the students enroll in the program, they're sixth graders, and so we start working with those sixth grade parents. And whether it's teaching them about how to save a little bit from every paycheck, as hard as it may be, it's important to start that savings fund for their students to use later on.
As early as possible.
Right, exactly. But we also talk about the academic piece, because there's so many academic scholarships available to students. That's really the basis of most scholarships. And so we're trying to get that point across, that not only are we teaching the students to work really hard and pushing them, but engaging the parents in sustaining that at home and outside of school as well. And we try to keep that theme flowing throughout all of the programming that we do. But then again, later on, when they're parents of high school students, it is showing them the tools that are available online, like we talked about, and just understanding that if they're willing to push their child to do the work, the opportunities are there. Absolutely.
And speaking of online, you guys have a new website?
Yes.
Okay.
It is pathwaysmilwaukee.org.
Okay, pathwaysmilwaukee.org. And I mentioned the website because you did talk about the supporting schools that a child must be a part of. So parents can look online and see what schools are part of that to further investigate how they can get involved with this. And also on your website, you kind of break it down as to everything that you are offering on all of those components. Let's talk about some of the projects that you do. I know the last time that you visited us a couple of years ago, actually, Milton, you talked about a college tour and things of that nature. What do you have planned for the kids who are involved this year?
Well, we have what we call our Passport to Learning trips that we try to do every year. And it depends on the grade level. So coming out of school their freshman year, they'll typically do a civil rights trip to the South, and that's a 10-day trip. And we tour probably about 12 to 15 colleges on that trip. They study the history, of course, of civil rights, always read a book or something while we're on the trip. So it's not all play. And then their sophomore year is usually our American government trip, and that's the East Coast, another 10-day trip where we study American government, and they visit about 8 or 9 colleges on that tour. And then we have our culture and diversity trip, and that's our West Coast trip to California, where we're studying other cultures, Asian, Latino cultures, and there's usually about 8 or 9 college tours on that. So we try to it's that opportunity, access and opportunity, again, exposing them to everything that's out there so they understand, it's not just this small world in Milwaukee or Wisconsin. We want to make sure that they apply for schools that are really a good fit for them.
Yeah, so. I love everything that you're doing, and I know that you have some awesome success stories that you're very proud of as well.
We do, we do. Kelly loves talking about our students, so if you want to hear some success stories, she has them all.
Well, I thank you both for coming by today, and it's good to see that you're continuing to grow and continuing to instill in students and their parents that college is definitely an option for them, and Pathways Milwaukee is definitely making it possible. Thank you all so much.
Thanks again.
It's been a pleasure. Milton Cockroft is the Executive Director of Pathways Milwaukee, and Kelly Ramirez is the Director at Pathways Milwaukee. For more information, again, you can log on to their website at pathwaysmilwaukee.org or call 414-443-8729. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue our focus on higher education when we meet a representative from an organization that makes college admission and success possible for local high school students. We'll learn more about College Possible right after this.